I've been watching a ton of videos recently about the Nintendo Switch Lite. I threw out my opinions on it even as someone that did not use one or purchase one yet. Last week when I talked about the 2DS XL and how maybe that could be a better option for someone looking for a portable Nintendo console because the 2DS XL can be modded. Obviously the Switch Lite is not there yet and may not be for a while. So there's a lot of different things you can do with the 2DS. It has a big screen, two of them in fact, which covers more real estate than the Switch does, but obviously it's not capable of outporting the same quality of games that you're going to see on the Switch. And the 2DS obviously has no future support going forward from many publishers, if any at all. So my girlfriend Sydney bought a Switch, obviously the standard one, 2 years ago, around the time that I think they first came out. Back then, I was playing almost strictly Microsoft consoles, all three of them. The original Xbox, the 360, the Xbox One, I was all over that. And in the last 2 years, my perspective has kind of changed. I've became somebody that plays all systems, and I feel like I appreciate gaming better now because of it. But we don't play that Switch very often. I mean, very rarely. And we only own a handful of games for it. The last one we bought was Let's Go Pikachu, which we haven't even completed because obviously I'd already played Pokemon Yellow, so it wasn't all that intriguing. Plus, it was fairly easy. So I'm hopeful that Sword and Shield will be a better experience. But regardless, we have played the Switch very little over the last 2 years. And then, within the last month and a half, I come across purchasing a Wii U very cheap on Shop Goodwill. And now I have played that more in the last month than we've played the Switch in the last year. Which is why I have to pose the question for those of you looking for the cheapest experience to play Nintendo Switch games. Is it maybe not to buy a Switch Lite, a portable-only console? Is it actually to buy the Wii U? And obviously I understand the Wii U is a dead console. It's no longer supported. It isn't portable in the true sense that it can leave your home, but it has that same, handheld experience. While in your home, it can be played on a TV, and I think that it has the neat attribute that the Switch doesn't, in the fact that you can utilize both screens. That's something the Switch can't do. The Wii U as a console is almost living its second life on the Nintendo Switch. Whether you realize it or not, many of the games that you've probably played on the Switch, if you have one, are games that were originally released on the Wii U. So if you don't own a Switch, if you don't own a Wii U, maybe you're someone coming from a Microsoft or a Sony console and you're looking to play some of these first-party Nintendo games, you would be shocked at how many of the games on the Switch were originally released on the Wii U. So I'm going to have a video link down in the description from a couple of weeks ago where I talked about getting my Wii U up to speed with being able to play backup games, which was very easy. It's through a browser exploit, so you're just going to a website on the Wii U web browser. From there, it's able to push this payload and get you into the homebrew channel, and all you gotta do is have a few files on your SD card to do it. And then from there, you can install backup games onto a hard drive attached to the Wii U. So it's a pretty straightforward process, I think, if you want to actually install custom firmware, true custom firmware in the Wii U. That's a little bit more complicated. You have to buy a original DS game, a digital one for that matter, on the eShop for $7 and then use that to exploit it. So a little bit more involved, but you can definitely just get it to run backup games very easily if you don't want to dive into playing emulators and things like that on the Wii U because maybe you already have another console that can do that. Regardless, if you want to play backup games or if you want to be able to buy games, the physical disc and have that and play consistently on the physical disc, I think that you can get a great experience out of the Wii U playing the games that are on the Switch. I'm talking about games like Mario Kart 8, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Captain Toad. I mean, just all sorts of games would go on and on. I mean, it would almost be easier for me to tell you what first-party Nintendo titles are not ported over to the Switch. It's just simply that many of the Wii U games that got moved over to the Switch. So the Wii U as an older, more obscure console, like I said, you can play the backup games, you can go get the discs. The discs aren't that easy to find in GameStop these days. While my GameStop does have Wii U games, They're very picked over. The collection is very small, but I do believe that you can find most games fairly easily on eBay, and they aren't that expensive. The same games that you would probably pay full $60 for the Switch are now $15, $20, maybe even as low as $10 for the same game, but it's the Wii U version. And I do think that the Wii U offers some unique gameplay experiences just simply because you have a screen on the TV and then you have the gamepad as well. So look, if you saw the Switch Lite, you said it's $200. We're finally getting down there maybe in price because the Switch has not seen a price cut since it came out. You maybe thought, could the price get a little bit lower? And the truth is, for the actual Switch, it probably isn't going to get any lower. $200 is probably the lowest we're going to see it go without there being another console iteration, another redesign, or without obviously finding a sale, though Nintendo consoles do not seem to go on sale very frequently, and I do not expect the Switch Lite to be on sale on Black Friday. It would have to have just staggeringly terrible sales through the first month, I think, in order for that to happen. So you want to get something cheaper, you can definitely find yourself a Wii U for $100 or less if you play your cards right. Otherwise, I think you're going to be looking at, maybe even close to $150 would be probably fair price to get a complete console. And by that I mean the actual box that plugs into your TV, the gamepad, and all of the cords. Because you need both that box and the gamepad. You don't want to have one or the other, or you will have yourself a huge mess on your hands and you're going to be stuck buying one individually. It's just going to end up costing a lot more money. So buy them together. I got mine for $60 on shopgoodwill.com. Granted, it did not have the power cable, so I had to buy that for another like $15 or so. But it ended up being pretty cheap. And if you do have Wii remotes laying around because everybody and their grandma owned a Wii at one point, had it in their closet, you pull those out. Those are your additional controllers for the Wii U. Plus, obviously, player one is going to be the gamepad. So you got that covered as well. So I think that the Wii U is a great console. I think it is the cheapest way to play many of these Switch games. Obviously, going forward, the Wii U is not going to have the support that the Switch has to keep getting new games. You just kind of got what you got in there for the collection, but it's a good collection, and I think that's often overlooked. So if you've never owned a Switch, never owned a Wii U, you don't know if the Switch is for you at $200 or $300 for the true model, the Wii U might be a good way to go without, risking spending too much money on it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Bailey, and I will see you in the next video.